What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Blaiden Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Sponhour and Theo Ash. And it is, of course, brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. If you're doing any sort of sports betting this NFL playoff season, make sure you're doing it over at FanDuel. We have to talk about the NFL playoffs, the wild card round, featured probably some of the best playoff football I've seen in a long time. I mean, truly,
it was a good weekend. We got four really strong games. We haven't seen, obviously, the Monday night game if you're listening to this Monday morning, of course. But I would say we went 4 for 5. Patriots-Chargers. Patriots-Chargers wasn't even like a terrible, like, Chargers were out of it instantly game, but
right.
It was a low-scoring slugfest where you're like, oh, yeah, man. This team has both of their starting tackles out, and that's not good. But yeah, it was a good weekend. In some ways, though, it was a very bad weekend for this podcast.
In some ways,
it was a terrible, terrible weekend.
The Panthers lost, the Packers lost, both of which in like heartbreaking close game fashion.
It's
the
interesting.
Browns weren't even there to begin with.
Yeah, and the Browns weren't there to begin with, so it could be worse for sure. The thing is that like, both me and Theo walked into these playoffs like not really expecting much. There was no light at the end of the tunnel for Green Bay without Micah Parsons or the Carolina Panthers as they currently are, right? I mean, it was kind of like we could win this one game and who knows what can happen in a second game, I guess, but there's going to be a point where the reality of the team gets to you. So it hurts a lot less in that sense. There was no, like, I don't know, compare it to a team like the Jaguars who lost today, right? I'm not saying that they were the favorite or anything, but if you were a Jaguars fan and you felt like we have a shot, you know, we could be the team that gets hot and goes on a run, I think a lot of people would have called you reasonable, and rightfully so. The Panthers
they had
like
a home
that.
Playoff game. Well, I guess so did the Panthers.
Yeah, but it's different. And the Panthers not really, and Green Bay not really. So I'm not here like completely heartbroken. I don't know how you feel, Theo, but I will say the Packers lost to the Bears, which sucks. And the Panthers did get my hopes up. I really did want to play spoiler and get the Rams at a point in that game.
Yeah, dude. I mean, if we want to just go in chronological order here and talk about Rams Panthers first, even though the Panthers lost, I think it's very clear that they have exposed some of the clear flaws with this Rams team. And it's things that we brought up before this game as potential pitfalls for how the Panthers could beat the Rams, right? It's like this secondary is not that good. It's very possible for McMillan to have a good game. And
the corners were brutal in this game.
I mean, just absolutely, just like Coker and McMillan were open on basically every single play. Like they were constantly creating separation. And, you know, credit to Bryce. He was able to make some plays when it mattered. But they just weren't able to mitigate it with the pressure rushing for like they have been in the past. The other problem that I felt the Rams had was Stafford did not play like the MVP in this game, right?
He did very poorly under pressure. And I think the three things that you could point out about the Rams going into the playoffs were what? Stafford is still good, but he's older and is very limited athletically compared to a lot of other quarterbacks in the playoffs. And that can be an issue when he's under pressure and when he needs to make a play with his legs. The cornerback room for the Rams is really pretty weak, and we've seen them lose games because of those guys, especially Forbes. And they had issues on special teams. In this game, Stafford was bad under pressure, the cornerbacks were bad, and they had a blocked punt. Everything that you thought were negatives about this team showed up for sure. And it definitely makes you question, you know. I mean, who do they play? The Rams or the Rams play the Bears, right? So that's definitely a more favorable matchup than playing the Seahawks, in my opinion. No disrespect, Chicago. But, yeah, it makes you concerned about a rematch for that, and they survived it anyway.
I thought ultimately be scared to play Chicago, though. Like,
oh, sure.
That those weapons are still
they
really
get crazy.
good.
They get crazy weapons, and we'll get into them. I'm not saying there's any easy game, but you know, Seattle's the 1 seed.
Yeah, you don't have to deal with that defense.
So certainly, like, the issues that you saw for the Rams are there. Also, like, you had Puka drop a touchdown. That was really tough. And if he had caught that, this is an entirely different game, and you feel like you're right at the spread. And while, like, when the corners struggle, I say, yeah. When the special teams has a mistake, yeah. When Puka drops an open pass, you're like, okay, well, that's maybe a one-off mistake here. Although I thought the Panthers corners had a very good day. Mike Jackson was just unbelievable in this game. Theo, you're right to hype him up, and I should be hyping up my guy more than that. There was a lot of conversation too about the game that Bryce played. I thought it was good. A lot of people were like, "Oh, this is the best game of his career." I didn't know if I was quite there with it. I think early in the game he was really struggling, honestly, and there were a lot of big third down throws that he missed. I think about down the sideline to McMillan. There was another one down the sideline to Coker, over the middle to Leggett, was way behind them and low. The fourth down, I thought he could have hit Mitchell Evans, and he just didn't turn and make that, and I really wish he had. So I thought, maybe I would say the final touchdown throw that he made, that might be, considering the situation. Well, considering the situation, definitely best throw of his career. I mean, that was cash money. And I understand on routes like that, on some level, it's like put it up there, and if it's in kind of like a decent spot, the wide receiver can just run under it. But that one was placed so well, it wasn't really like that. It was just on the money, and Coker didn't have a ton of separation. And Bryce also had a guy, like, I wouldn't say in his face truly affecting the throw, but he didn't have all day to sit back there and just, think about how to place that thing. He had to pretty much let that fly immediately. So I was super, super impressed by that. And he did enough to get them to win. Ultimately, the reason why the Panthers lost is because their pass rush sucks. They cannot get pressure rushing 4 straight up. And in a game where if they had even been a hair better at that, they probably could have come away with it. In a game where getting that pressure would have given them such a massive advantage, it really, really, really sucks that they weren't able to.
Yeah.
And it's a little frustrating on that final drive. They just sat back and played such soft zone. Stafford did a really good job going at those linebackers, moving them out of the way with his eyes and whatnot and attacking over the middle. And they just sat in zone and kind of let him do that and dunk his way down the field. I thought we were at a point where it's like, okay, dude, we should just, you get the midfield, let's just start being aggressive. Let's heat them up. Let's blitz. Let's say, go ahead and beat that, and we're not going to accept just sitting back and letting you do whatever.
Especially when the blitz was working.
And if you get us, fine. But then we have enough time to where we can go and put together a real drive. We only need 40 yards or so, even with a bad return, to kick a field goal and take this thing to overtime. Instead, they get the ball back with, 38 seconds from the 30 is still plenty of time to get a chance, but they can't even complete a pass. Super disappointing. That they didn't, kind of take into account how much they could really do with that. So I thought on the whole, the Panthers seasons have been a success, I would say. I mean, they won the division, even if it is kind of shenanigans, and they maybe have the offensive rookie of the year. And I think Bryce take a step back, very up and down, of course, but I would say marginally better. And you feel like there's certain things to attack rather than just saying as a whole, like, we have the worst defense. We could use literally everything. Now it's like, okay, Derek Brown's back, looks like a star. The corners look good. You need a pass rush, probably could use a safety, we need some linebackers, but it's only like 70% of the defense now. So that's sweet. But you feel like you have a basis of weapons to work off of. You have somewhat of an identity. It definitely feels like a step in the right direction. But at the same time, I think if we're sitting back here and saying, it's a big moral victory to have a playoff game even be close. Like, to go, if it's a moral victory to go have your heart ripped out at home in the playoffs, that in itself is a moral loss. Any team saying that about a game like this is probably not in a great spot. Ultimately, they'll either have a good offseason and be better next year or not, and probably have worse, one score game luck or something like that in the regular season, and the Saints will do something and the Falcons will do something and they'll take a step back. But I'm only 60% of the way there on the just glad to be here after the game. I'm kind of more and more upset that we didn't actually pull that thing out.
I mean, you had a great chance.
It's like,
Just a
dang, they
fantastic
really had
chance.
him. They really, really had him. And it would have been so cool. They probably would have just lost the next week. I mean, if they had no pass rush and were going up against Caleb Williams, like, what do I think is going to happen there, right? But with him, like, running around and whatever. But, like, man, it would have been sick to just knock the Rams out. Not that I really have anything against it, but, like, a team that, like, you know, at one point in the year as a favorite to win the Super Bowl was probably, like, second odds going into that game. It would have
They have
been
the
super sick.
supposed MVP, offensive player of the year,
I mean,
one of the
first
best
team
coaches in the
All-Pro.
league. Like, yeah, that would
The first
that would
team
be
All-Pro.
safe. First team All Pro.
So I'm definitely bummed we lost the playoff game. There's a lot of positives to take away from the season. I don't want to be all negative for my Panthers listeners.
Would you
dang,
rather have
man.
gotten blown out?
No, honestly, like, because the online talk about it now is at least like, you shout out to the Panthers or whatever. It's like, okay, that's a valid loss, and you covered the spread. And we were the one team that was supposed to get blown out. If they had gotten nuked, I mean, I would have just been like, this sucks, sitting with my hands on my belly in the third quarter. Like,
I guess
I definitely wouldn't want to do that. I'd like to see some
Yeah.
life out of the team for sure, even if it was more frustrating.
and especially because it's the NFL playoffs. There's only one game, so you can't like switch to something else. Which
Right.
this is, I have a gripe. Why is it that on a normal Sunday we've got 6 1:00 games, 3 4:00 games, and a Sunday night game? Then the playoffs roll around. It's like, yeah, we're gonna have 2 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday, and a game on Monday. It's like, dude, you don't need to do all that. You could have all the games on Sunday and do like 2 1:00.
What?
Like you could
Well,
just
don't
have,
you want them all at the different times? You don't want 2 playoff games on at once.
I don't care, man. You can have 2 playoff games at once.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can. What do you mean
That's
you
a
can't?
terrible idea. That's a terrible idea.
Why?
Because you want to watch
can
all the
pay more
playoff games.
attention. Yeah, you want to watch them all, and you want to be able to pay attention.
I
to all of
watch
them.
2 games at once all the time.
Yeah, and it
But
sucks.
wouldn't you? Yeah, it does suck. I would much rather watch one game.
I would much rather watch one game at a time.
Honestly,
but
that's
then
one of
the
my
season would
favorite
never get
parts
done.
about this weekend is that it's just like one game on.
Yes.
There's no like
Blaiden,
trying to look
that
at
is
3 different
the
things. I
worst
love it.
take I have ever
I guess.
heard.
I don't know.
And
I
you
just
can
don't
I'm
like
thinking about it very carefully. That is the worst take I've ever heard.
And you still get a full day of watching football. You know what I'm
Look,
saying?
I'm
like,
all for like watching. Like it's. I don't know. I just don't see the point in spreading it out.
the point is like
I'm moving on.
unbelievably easy to understand.
I'm moving on.
Theo.
I don't understand. I don't want to even think about that take, Blaiden. I
Okay.
don't even want to think about it. I don't know
Only
how to
good
feel
takes for
about the
rest of
Rams.
episode.
I don't know how to feel about the Rams right now because 34-31 is a bit of a disappointing result for them, right? They're 10-point
They didn't
favorites. They
cover
should
by
blow
a
this team out.
touchdown. Yeah.
The secondary, Stafford, I agree with everything you said. Special teams, overall, I'd say a positive maybe because the field goal kicker didn't make any kicks. They did get a muffed punt, which is lucky.
They got a muffed punt, but a muffed punt is all the other team making a mistake.
You're right,
Whereas
you're
having
right.
a punt blocked is completely different. I know that's going to be like, oh, that's biased. I promise you that.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
The accuracy from Stafford, a bit up and down. Yeah, definitely the secondary, every inbreaker complete for the Panthers, it seemed like. I mean, they like to play kind of on a rail, outside of leverage. You get maybe a lot of blitzes, right, with their linebacker kind of walked up on the line of scrimmage. They're susceptible to those. And Bryce did a really, really good job hitting them. Like 1 to 10 really early in the game, he puts low with the free safety driving on it. I thought that was really good. I thought Bryce played well overall. He'll always be a limited quarterback because of the pressure. And I think that we saw that on the 4th downs, especially early in the game where, yeah, he got out of the pocket. He made a play with his legs, but what about his arm? What about his range once he's on the sideline? Those are the types of things that I think still separate him. Maybe some of the sacks, some of the check downs that he threw, other guys could have pushed it down the field. I'll have to watch the all 22 after this weekend. But overall, I think he did a good job. The placement on a couple throws was absolutely spectacular down the sideline, over the middle, and picking up his fifth-year option will be an easy decision, and maybe you can gain a little bit of value if he signs a cheaper long-term contract. I do think you can win with him, and this playoff game was a step in the right direction for him, even though it wasn't Bryce Young completely dominating from beginning to end.
I guess a lot of people are like, this is his best game, and it's like, man, I don't even think this is his best game in like the last couple of months. I think he's played games where he didn't
probably
have
played
to
a better
throw
game last
40
time against the
times.
Rams.
Yeah, I thought, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
like
when they won.
Yeah, when they won, and he like hit some big throws on fourth down. So I was just like, I understand. I don't want to be too negative, right?
Yeah.
About the quarterback for my team, but like there were a number of like big third downs and fourth downs where it's like Bryce missed the throw, and to me that's I'll frame it like this: saying that's his best game, low-key disrespectful. Don't disrespect Bryce like that.
Yeah, I mean, he did have a pretty big. He was 21 of 40. So,
yeah, I mean, like I'm thinking again, and he had
like to see less than 19.
The Hubbard check down that definitely would have picked it up. Like I understand Hubbard got his like tippy fingers on that. So if you want to say sorry, it's the NFL, you need to be Spider-Man and catch that. Fair enough, but like that was a brutal, like poorly placed ball. So yeah,
I think definitely bailed out by some misses, not great coverage overall. Bryce was able to target his average depth of target was 9 yards down the field, which is a complete reversal of kind of what we've seen from him versus like the Seahawks defense, which completely smothered everybody. The Rams clearly don't have an ability to do the same thing. But man, you've already beat the Panthers, and it is good to have the Bears next. It really is good to have the Bears next instead of the Seahawks. And we'll get into the Bears, but they still scored 34 points. Stafford still let them down the field at the end. And despite the drop, Puka Nacua still a very good receiver, I'd say. I mean, they leaned on him. The entire first quarter was like all Puka Nacua, all Puka Nacua, all Puka Nacua.
He had 18 targets, so
yeah,
right.
Yeah, the drop was brutal, and really, I truly think Puka catches that. It's a touchdown. Rams put up 40, and the Panthers are like pseudo in it for the entire game more than the Rams are like coming back and winning it. You know, the Panthers are like drawing it within 3 and then letting the clock get run out on them. So I think you could view this game entirely different if a great player makes a routine play.
Yeah, that one was weird. It looked like he was maybe not expecting the bullet pass. Like he's kind of open up the sideline. Usually that's a rainbow. And I think Stafford saw that safety and threw a real bullet. Great throw. And I think a good decision with that safety coming over, but maybe not quite what Puka expected. That was my analysis of it. Who knows why, though? Who knows why? You should catch it either way, obviously. Right. That was a bizarre drop. I think Ivero Ijero, the Panthers defensive coordinator, not his best game. I wanted more blitzing and more man with the way that the corners were playing and how they were playing going into that game.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
I completely agree.
Spot
I would
drop
rather
zone, dead zone seams like killed the Panthers whenever they played cover 3.
Well, so for Stafford, it would be one thing if at the beginning of the game, but it's like the final drive we turned to that. I understand that Horn was in the blue tent, but like, dang, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Again, even if we take out the sort of like online Madden-esque logic of let them score and we have a chance because we just don't think we can possibly get a stop or whatever. Like just being aggressive, trying to get them into a negative situation at all, a second and long or something, get a sack. I don't know. Yeah,
I definitely think that some team is going to have to go in against the Rams and play cover 1 and beat them. I think the Panthers showed that it can maybe be done. I mean, if you're playing cover 1, Stafford can't look you off. He's not going to scramble and pick up a first down that way. I mean, there was one play that he had scrambling out, like the camera pans, you're like, oh yeah, he'll pick up this first down easily on 3rd in the red zone. And he's just not that type of quarterback. He has to throw it. And it was broken up by a sim pressure D lineman, I think, throwing it. So you got to find a way to play cover 1, play tight on the receivers because he's not going to hurt you with the scrambles and he's not going to look you off. So
right.
that I would have liked to have seen more of that, because they actually had the opportunity with the corners that they have to win that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree with the blitzing stuff. It feels like Stafford really, he doesn't throw with like the weird off platform stuff anymore. He doesn't really contort his body anymore. Like, it's not even to me like as much as being able to like make guys miss, as much as like the thing that made Stafford so dangerous, I always felt like, was he would be able to like lay sideways in the pocket and throw side on. I feel like he just doesn't do that same stuff anymore.
He's just not as athletic as he was. He's still
Right.
good. There's still a lot of good
Yeah.
parts of his game for sure, but it's just not one of them. And in some ways, like, we are kind of talking about a certain type of team that is really well balanced on defense, because while the Panthers had the corners, they didn't have the pass rush to straight up.
Yeah.
I guess they could have been more aggressive, but like ultimately, I mean, when they rushed 4, you could turn your attention elsewhere until that ball was thrown, man. Because it was brutal. But then there's another team that has a pass rush, might not have the corners, and it's like if you go man up against Adams and Puka, it's probably not going to go that good for you.
Yeah. Some of the blitzes the Panthers were trying to, like, not the blitzes I might choose to run, like the
God, some of them just
horn blitz from the boundary, and he gets picked up by the running back, and it's Devontae one-on-one on the double move. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
that's probably not who I would blitz. So didn't love the game plan, didn't love the way the Panthers approached it on defense. I think they kind of let the Rams off the hook a little bit. And it didn't even feel like Stafford played particularly great, and they still put up 30.
They threw that interception to Mike Jackson, and he almost threw that one that Puka had to knock away from Nick Scott. That was a terrible throw.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it was. Yeah, Puka almost knocked that away and caught it on the rebound. I don't know if you noticed that. On the replay, he almost knocked it out, and then he tried to make a catch on his hip. I was like, dude, if he caught that, like,
if the Panthers play a cleaner game, they win this one, and that's what's frustrating about it. Is it just came down to like they blew a couple of fourth downs and they muffed a punt. It's like, damn, man. And I guess probably the Rams could be like, we could play a cleaner game too, but that they're not my team, so I don't care.
The expectation is different too.
Right, exactly.
You know.
Do we want to move on to your team blowing it, Theo?
Nah.
Okay.
Hey, can't spell cinema without Iceman.
Yeah, I guess that is almost. Is that exactly?
It's a perfect anagram. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, he really is Iceman, man. Like, Caleb Williams was doing Aaron Rodgers shit that entire second half, and really the second half of all the games that we've played, he's come alive in a crazy way.
Yeah.
He is as gifted of a quarterback as there is in the league. I just feel like it really is Josh Allen, Mahomes, Lamar-esque, what he's able to do under pressure.
I think it's truly like I don't want to say that he's so much like better than those guys or whatever. That's not the point I'm getting to, but the way in which he gets to that stuff truly feels unique to him. Like his ability to throw from any position is just incredible. And you combine that with somebody who's so fast, and it just doesn't bother him at all if he's sprinting towards the sideline or moving any which way in the pocket or anybody bearing down on him. Of course, like, he's in year 2, and there's some consistency stuff that still needs to be built up for sure. But the high-end stuff is week in and week out, just the craziest plays that are going to be made by a quarterback at this point. And we saw late in this game, it's just, oh my God, all the time.
That 4th and 8 that he had is one of the greatest throws of all time. And I think for the rest of my life, when you say Caleb Williams 4th and 8, I'll remember everything that happened vividly, like being chased, his ankles getting clipped, him jumping and diving midair, sprinting to his left, like you said, Matt. It just doesn't matter. It just does not matter how fast he's moving, in what direction. He can get enough on it to get the ball where it needs to go. And that was just not open at all. Like, Nixon is undercutting the route. There's a hook defender in front of that route. And we saw like Purdy today throw an interception when there is none of that hook defender, and he's not sprinting to his left where Tongas got caught up to. Like, he needed to layer that ball up over the trailing defender to have it make any kind of chance. And Caleb is able to do that at such a speed. Like he really floated that thing over the undercut and over the hook defender and down in front of the safety. Like the accuracy is just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I think he made plenty of good plays in structure too. Like after the game, you hear the common refrain of like, oh, he makes all the hard stuff look easy and all the easy stuff look hard. And he had some misses, no doubt, and he has all year, but really the entire second half, like tight zone windows, intermediate zone windows downfield, over and over and over again got hit, whether he was on the move or in the pocket. And easy stuff to the flat, like when Enikbare was on DeAndre Swift, that got hit, right? That's an easy throw. He didn't sky that over his head. I don't know. I think some of the, like, obviously the red zone stuff was bad, but just because it's a red zone play doesn't mean it's like necessarily an easy throw, I think.
No, not at all. Also, the other guy where it's like, even if you're just thinking about the Bears' future, I guess.
Yeah.
Loveland, tier 1 monster. Yeah. Took him a handful of games to come along, and truthfully, like in fantasy, it's just not acceptable. And Loveland needs to take responsibility for that, no question about it. But
I'm sure
sit
he'll
here
apologize to you. It's okay.
well, I didn't draft him. I'm just saying in general, but in general, I mean, like just a guy that big who runs routes at a different level and plays tight end at a different speed than almost everybody. You know, it's a handful of guys who are the type of receiving weapons at that position, at that size that he is. And it's going to be, I mean, a big deal for a long time. He's only 21 years old. This is going to be a tier 1 weapon for them. It really feels like he's just broken out as, maybe that's an overreaction, but man, the Packers just did not have anything for him. Linebackers are just not going to stay with this guy outside of a very few, very special dudes. And corners, it's tough because he's going to have the size mismatch on all of them. So 10 was definitely like the top end of his range, but how he's played the last handful of games has made it look like it really, really, really is worth it.
Yeah, he's a monster. Burden is a monster. They crushed the draft. They really crushed the draft and set them up for success on offense for a long time.
I mean,
the offensive line has been really good, yeah.
It's every year we talk about like, oh, Bears are off-season winners, but we'll see how the actual season goes. Yeah, they just won the off-season, dude. They brought in Ben Johnson as their head coach. They fixed their offensive line completely, and they drafted 2 high-end weapons. Like, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, they're X factors, I think, in these NFC playoffs with how good their offense is. The defense really is slow, and it really is going to be a shootout, I think, where they'll need to score 30 about every game to win, right? But with Caleb, it's like it might be possible. It might be possible to go up against the Seattle defense and have a guy that they just don't have an answer for, Caleb Williams, with these receivers. Like, it's enticing. It's enticing. And I picked the Packers to win, but I probably shouldn't have, even though they should have won, and we'll probably
This is super close.
It's a super close game, but it just, and maybe this is an overreaction because I do think Love overall played quite well, but it feels like the Bears actually have hope to win a second game in a way that Green Bay didn't, because they're the 2 seed and they'll keep getting home field advantage, first of all. And then just also because Caleb has you on the edge of your seat every single drop back.
Yeah, I guess
Green Bay had won, they would have faced Seattle.
Yes, they would have got killed.
It would have been a very tough matchup. That would have been very, very difficult. I thought Love played a good game overall for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't come away thinking that he played negatively, and we got to that final drive, and I'm like, oh man, this is. I mean, if there's ever a meatball setup, this is it. They have to get a touchdown, and there's like kind of enough time to drive down into it, but it's really tight. You got to be like more aggressive than you'd like to be. But I thought he did a really good job. I thought that Watson had a real shot at that ball in the end zone.
Doubt.
And if they hadn't had that 10-second runoff because of an injury, they probably wouldn't have had to be in we're taking shots at the end zone mode before they got into like reasonable territory to do. They were just a little bit too far away, but even then, Love like really gave him a good shot. And if Watson can come down with that, we're talking a completely different game here. So Love is like very low on my list of guys to complain about at all in this. I mean, were his top special plays as special as Caleb's? Like, no. But that's a hell of a bar to hold him to. That doesn't mean he didn't play good.
Right.
Oh yeah, 18 pass EPA from him in this game, 322 yards, 4 touchdowns, I think, right? He didn't play bad. I do think that there was a period of time when the offense stalled, and there was specifically one play that really made me upset where he had all day in the pocket on a 3rd and 2 and just kind of threw it away, targeting Matthew Golden. Maybe there was a miscommunication there. But that was the one that really was like, man, you got to bury these guys. You got to get something going on offense, and you'll probably win if you get anything going on offense on any of those like 3rd quarter drives. And there was one really bad miss that I thought he had that is sticking in my mind and making me sad. But I totally agree. That throw to Christian Watson, the dig, it was in a really tight window, would have been a tough catch, but I thought that was the perfect throw for that situation. I think that was as good of a place as he could have put it. He had a drop on that final drive with Jaden Reed. Yeah, I think overall the passing offense doesn't deserve much blame. Dobbs balled out.
Yes.
Matthew Golden balled out finally. But it wasn't enough. There was absolutely no rush attack. They were blitzing, playing man. I think it was definitely questionable with the way Love was kind of picking them apart. But at the end of the day, it feels worth it because we couldn't run the ball, and that really is what extended the game so long for the Bears to pull ahead. So I think you got to tip your cap to Dennis Allen at the end of the day, even though it was kind of unsound. And they were ripping off a lot of explosive chunks versus the man because it worked versus the run. You got to tip your cap.
Mm-hmm.
Matt LaFleur.
Right.
There are a lot of things to be unhappy about. And he's a lame duck coach heading into 2026. And he hasn't quite earned an extension, I think. Like,
this was bad.
It's bad.
This was a bad loss. Nobody was going to be mad at you if you went out against the Seahawks. Sorry, dude, you can't be missing Micah Parsons. Just can't miss a player like that, and the defense is too banged up. But you're up big time in a division rival. And honestly, like, the Bears were kind of floundering for a moment in this game on trying to pull, the bad 4th down. They come away with 0
that was
points.
Crazy.
They get great field position off the special teams mishap. They only come away with 3. They're still down 2 possessions. You're in the 4th quarter. Not to be able to capitalize on a lead and then those mistakes as well is completely ridiculous.
I mean, they called a timeout, and then on a 3rd and 10, probably. I hate unnecessary timeouts. It drives me absolutely nuts. It's the second half of the game. I would almost rather take the 5-yard penalty than call a timeout. If you're like confused, I just snap it and run inside zone. I don't care. Anyway, they call a timeout, and then they get a delay of game out of the timeout. Like, whose fault is it? Love's? Is it LaFleur's? Like, what the fuck happened? I don't know the answer, but this is the kind of thing that has happened over and over and over and over again this season. Bungling the end of game situation versus the Cowboys when we tied. Lucky that there was an incomplete pass at the end of the game after acting like they had all the time in the world. They're lucky there's an incomplete pass with 1 second left. Like, they were going to run out of time and they got bailed. Versus the Eagles with a 2-minute drive at the end of the game. 4th and 1, they scramble. They do a shotgun read option play. The game planning throughout that game was really conservative, really poor. And then they bungle that situation at the end. Again, just poor management of the clock that cost them games. I think clearly McManus was struggling. And it's, again, is it LaFleur's fault that he leaves 7 points on the board in a game you lose by 4? Not really. But maybe start to go for it. I don't know. Even on the 4th and 12, like where they settled for a field goal, Like maybe go for it. How much your field goal is really helping you at that point? I don't know, but I would like to see your foot on the gas more. No stupid clock management situation, stupid penalties. The team is just dumb. Carrington Valentine on that 4th down, of course he catches the interception after we drop interceptions all year. He catches the one that like flips the field and works as an arm punt instead of batting it down. Like just no
play by Caleb Williams there, man.
I don't know who he was throwing to. I don't know what the issue was there. He threw it right to him. But like knock it down if you're a smart team. If you're a dumb team, you catch it and then he doesn't even realize like, oh, I shouldn't have caught that. He's like flying around celebrating. Like again, is this LaFleur is just being a young, stupid team? I don't know, but they've been stupid. They've been stupid in every single big game. They get goaded into emotional penalties in every big game. I feel like the coaches tell their teams like go fight with the Packers before the game and get them angry because they're going to do something stupid. They're young, they're emotional. Like the corners aren't going to know how to respond. Like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous the amount of unnecessary roughness that you can bank on, the special teams issues you can bank on, the clock management issues you can bank on. I appreciate that they've had a good offense every year, that he's there. It's a huge deal. It is a huge deal.
That's what's frustrating about it, is that it's tough to find the guy like that who's really clearly a plus as a play caller and designer for an offense.
Yeah.
But like, man, guy catches a stupid interception. You then like, I don't think they went 3 and out, but they had like 1 first down and then punted and then gave up a big punt return. And then the Bears went nowhere and got the field goal. It's like, Jesus, dude. And then of course
5 you were 13 yards.
Right. And then you were within field goal range, but needed a touchdown at the end of the game. Although who knows if that would have made any difference at all because you left 7 points on the board kicking. Not good.
And is he an OC or a head coach? You know, that's where my mind goes. Like, sure, you have a good playbook for sure. You're one of the guys with a great playbook and you know how to utilize motion and weaponize it. And that's all cool stuff. And every single year you've been the head coach, the passing EPA has been above average. That's great. You know the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson meme where it's Jordan Love using his playoff EPA to win a game or his EPA to win a game? It's really Matt LaFleur using Jordan Love's EPA to win a game with the fake stop because sure, you can crush the first half. That's awesome. Like it might as well be garbage time against the Bears, the first half. Like that's like a Dak fourth quarter empty comeback is empty stats in the first half. I don't care about the garbage time first half. Like manage a situation, see it through, finish. They were favored in this game and you see why. This is turning into a full-blown rant, but like the Packers led by 10 in Cleveland. They led by double digits in Dallas, double digits in Chicago the second game, and then 18 points in this playoff game. And they led by 9 in Denver. And in that Cleveland game and in the last 2 Chicago games, they were winning by double digits with 5 minutes left to go in the game. And they didn't win any of those. In Packers history, before this season, I think they'd lost 1 game winning by double digits with 5 minutes left to go. And they've blown 3 of those situations this year. It's pretty unacceptable. LaFleur is also 3-6 in the playoffs now in his career. There's a lot that's not good enough. And again, if he just signed an extension, it would be an easy decision, I think, like keep him probably. But because he is this lame duck, are you letting him play out that year? And then just what if he's bad, you just let him walk, you let him hit free agency? I guess it's possible. I don't hate it, but he certainly hasn't earned an extension, and he's going to demand, I think, a lot of money because if he was a coaching candidate, he could certainly get it somewhere else because of the offensive results in the regular season. But I'd
be really worried if you let LaFleur walk. It's like, okay, well, the passing offense is gonna get worse. It's probably not just gonna be top 3 in the NFL again off the basis of the talent that's there. I mean, they're a decently talented team in the passing offense in like that regard, but not so much where I think it just speaks for itself without LaFleur, but it's undeniable. Like on some level, I guess he's a head coach level OC and an OC level head coach, right? And it's incredibly frustrating. So I would give him another year, but if he demands a ton of money, I mean, it's not my money. It doesn't count towards the salary cap. So I would say go ahead and pay it. I don't care. But
he's just fucking up all these situations. Just no under center in the second half, like all from gun. Like, are we just supposed to wait until the passing offense falls out too and we're left with nothing? Like, I don't know. He really does have me thinking about John Harbaugh. Like, would things really be worse with Todd Monken? Like, if he's probably not going to get hired as a head coach, like hire Harbaugh, you get Monken. He might get this defensive coordinator hire right more often than LaFleur does. Maybe he's more of a winner. He's got the most road playoff wins in history.
Is he the greatest situation guy though?
No, he's not.
He's kind of conservative. Not. This is the issue: is that you could like let LaFleur go and then bring in somebody who doesn't bring that type of value, and then also is like, yeah, I think I'm punting on this 4th and 2, man.
Yeah,
and then you're. Yeah, and here's the thing: that'll happen game 3, and it'll be like, all right, so we're in this situation now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who you go after, like Mike McDonald, and then or Mike McDaniel, and then I'm dealing with illegal shift from Christian Watson.
In Green Bay, you're going 0-4 at home past November, so it's.
I don't think McDaniel being too cold is the issue as much as maybe Tua and the speedsters being cold. I think McDaniel doesn't call worse plays because it's cold. Maybe he does. Man. I think it's just that they play in Miami and it's warm all the time there, and then all the players get used to it being.
I get it though. I would be the same. I would definitely be that way as a player for sure. Everyone's like, "That's so soft." Nope,
I'd
that's
be that
reasonable.
way right now.
Right. I don't play good in the cold either. I have.
Well,
no
I think
sacks,
it's almost impossible to not play that way. I think you're used to it being warm and then it's cold. Like you got to get acclimated. It's probably human science, but yeah, I'm not happy with LaFleur, and I think that his leash should be so short. I wouldn't even be tomorrow they let him go. I wouldn't even be mad. I'd be curious to see who they hire, but I wouldn't even be mad. But it's a total mystery box. And even Ben Johnson, right? Great coaching hire, amazing coaching hire. Or Liam Cohen today, amazing coaching hire, like A+. Made decisions where you're like, what the fuck are you thinking?
Let's get into that because that's the next game.
Jaguars
versus Bills.
Theo, what decision are you talking about?
Well, like the run game stuff, right? Like why was his approach the way that it was? Why did they have 8 rushing attempts like deep into the third quarter when they were averaging almost like 10 yards per attempt or whatever?
Right. I think that was like kind of a big note for me is okay, the question was Bills have this great rushing offense. Jaguars have this great rushing defense. Jaguars rushing offense really hasn't been great, and the Bills rushing defense, I mean, we talk about it every single episode, not good. So who's going to win out there? And the answer was the Jaguars won that. Yeah. They were able to run the ball and the Bills couldn't. And it's pretty bad that they got that win and did not come away with the win. Absolutely. I think they leaned on a passing game that had a lot of big moments. Lawrence, a lot of big-time playoff level throws in this game, no doubt. A lot of tough hole shots, a lot of tight over the middle stuff. You can see him get the ball everywhere. I thought in general, you watch this game, you see a lot of playoff level throws. If you're a fan of a team with a young quarterback, watch this one back and ask yourself, how many times is my dude really making a throw like these dudes make? Not necessarily like the super high-end Allen stuff or what, like the craziest few, but just in general, the level of throws that these dudes are attempting and hitting. Regardless, you still saw some really big mistakes. The interception to Shaq Thompson, Lawrence just stares that down over the middle, tips off Thompson way too much. And then on the final drive as well, Myers not really open. It was a well-placed pass, but got a hand up in there, and that was intercepted as well. And that, as much as anything, cost him the game, is those two mistakes. I also think one of the big things to take away from this game, other than the fact that Allen played a really good game and did a lot to carry this team to victory and whatnot, but him being banged up and still being such a battering ram in short yardage in this one was monumental. There were so many times where it was, there's multiple fourth downs they picked up, and then late in the game when they got on the goal line, it's like, we're just going to go to Allen. There's another time they were on the goal line, we're just going to go to Allen. We're just going to run him as a red zone weapon, and he's just going to get it there. And even if we don't have outside weapons that we really trust to go and win, you think about like a Rams. It's like, okay, you've got Stafford, and then you've got Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. We're going to be able to find the matchup, and it's easy to draw up. These other teams like the Bills and dudes with physical quarterbacks, they got to get it another way. So, Hurts is a weapon like that. And I think Allen showed that he's a weapon like that in this game too. And it made a big difference.
That push, or I guess that push that went for 9 yards. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that one
was insane. That was unbelievable. I thought one of the biggest notes I had for what cost the Jaguars this game was trading for Greg Newsome like 3 months ago.
Newsome, I'm not misremembering this, was on the outside when Cooks had that huge shot late. And I mean, that was just a ridiculous blown coverage.
And he's like 5 yards away looking clueless. I'm like, yeah, this dude sucks. Like, I can't believe anyone tried to convince me that he was better than Campbell. It was just like, I'm still blown away that they made that trade. That is probably the most lopsided trade of the NFL season.
Yeah, it was pretty useless, wasn't it?
Like, the whole point was like, oh, Tyson Campbell hasn't been playing well. Not a great scheme fit. Let's bring in another guy. Let's trade for a guy who is like also bad. But like then Tyson Campbell ended up being really good in Cleveland because he's like a good physical man corner.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Greg Newsome just was a liability pretty much day one for them. And then he was on the field for like 60% of snaps, even after Travis Hunter is out for the season with an injury. It's like he can't just be on the field all the time because he's not good enough. And then in the biggest game of the year, he gives up a monumental play that basically loses them the game. I'm just like, it's very poetic to me that's how that played out. Allen obviously played really well, but their secondary is a massive issue. That's something that needs to get fixed this offseason. And I don't even know if it's as much of they need to get better corners. They do need to do that. They also need Hunter to get healthy. But also, like, if I'm looking at this through the lens of even when Hunter was healthy, was their secondary very good? Not really. When they had Tyson Campbell, their secondary wasn't good. They make this trade for Newsome, their secondary is still not good. At what point do we start to say, hey, maybe we need a scheme change on the back end? Maybe we need to try some different things.
I would definitely be curious to see if they go with Hunter as a full-time corner next year, because all of a sudden they have a bevy of wide receiver talent, right?
All of a sudden, Parker Washington is, the most special receiver we've got in the league.
He's good.
It's unbelievable how good he was in this game, man. Yeah. I mean, he's just a consistent go-to weapon. So yeah, that kind of does change the math on what they're, and then the Myers trade, of course. So it's like, okay, Washington is like too good to kick out here. Brian Thomas Jr. obviously has had a weird season, but still, yeah, I agree. I think Hunter at full-time corner could be something that they look into, or Hunter at full-time corner, and then like as a gadgety tee wide receiver 4 type of thing.
Yeah, he does have ridiculous hands, and we saw him make some crazy catches. That one against the Chiefs was nice. But, like, who are you taking off the field? I guess probably Brian Thomas. And then it's like, well, I don't know if that makes a ton of sense when I could be taking, Greg Newsome off the field in the defensive side. And, just letting him play man, limiting maybe how much he has to tackle and get involved in the run game could be the move for them next year. Allen is a beast, dude. That was kind of my main takeaway from this game. Like, I think the way he's been covered this lead up to the playoffs has been very weird.
We talked about this before. I mean, really what it is now is like the Ryan Clark stuff is just like, I don't care if a receiver drops a ball, it's on Josh Allen. It's like, it's just one of those things at a certain age as a sports fan, you realize it's like, you just can't argue with the like, football is not a team sport. It's actually just the quarterbacks, guys.
Yeah.
You can type until your fingers rub off and argue until your face turns blue. We know that football is a team sport. Of course, quarterbacks are the guys, and we're always going to probably give them a little bit too much credit regardless. But like, we cannot get to the point where we're saying, and what bothers me is that I feel like the people saying that know exactly what they're doing, where they know the receivers are rough and they know the defense has its issues, and they're hoping that those cost them so that they can just be like, Allen didn't win because look at the other quarterbacks who are out or whatever.
Yeah.
Really
and I think what the point that Clark was trying to make was somewhat about Lamar, because Lamar always gets
and then it's a terrible point, because it's a never ending. Then the Bills fans see it and they say, well,
exactly.
Now like sometimes you gotta go have a moment. It's like,
right. At some point, you just got to be the bigger person, and just like, even if you think Bills fans act immaturely about Lamar, or whoever acts immaturely about Lamar, like, you can't act that same way back if you think it's unfair, because now you're just perpetuating the dialogue that's bad. And it's just been weird. This whole lead up with Allen is like, there's no Mahomes. Like, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? But then everybody also picked the Jaguars, I feel like. And I don't know. I think
everyone thinks Trevor Lawrence is like terrible, you know?
And now,
even though Lawrence played well. And
I think, I think that Josh Allen is really good, and I do think that this isn't like a horribly constructed Bills team, and they are dangerous in this playoff field. And I think with Allen,
are you trying to rank them among the AFC contenders?
No.
Oh, okay.
But you can maybe.
No, I wasn't.
Well, I tweeted out like my ranking of the quarterbacks in the playoffs before the playoffs started, and I had Trevor Lawrence I had Josh Allen at 1, and people called that crazy.
Is it really crazy to say that? Who is calling that?
Who is it crazy?
Who's calling that?
It was mostly the Jalen Hurts people that were like,
okay,
he's obviously the best playoff quarterback. And I'm like, well, is he?
We'll get into that in a minute.
Well, and it's a good point about Allen, Blaiden, because I feel like Allen has already proven not everything. He has not proven everything, but it's not everything or nothing. It's not that Josh Allen has not proven anything because he hasn't won a Super Bowl. Josh Allen has proven a lot, and really he's proven about as much as any quarterback in the league in terms of him being a playoff performer, because the one guy you can put above him is Mahomes. And I think now Mahomes has to reprove a lot, because the past is the past. And yes, he went to 3 straight Super Bowls, and he's the greatest playoff performer ever. No doubt about it. But the Chiefs are going to have to go through some serious changes, and he's coming off an ACL, and we have to see. We have to see if this Chiefs 2.0 type Mahomes, or Mahomes when Andy Reid retires, or whatever it is that happens. We'll have to see if he can still win a Super Bowl. Like, he's still got a good amount to prove, or he's kind of back at square one. Not in terms of legacy, right? He's not at square one, but in terms of can he? And I have just about as much confidence in Allen as I do with Mahomes in the playoffs. Like, or anybody. Like, maybe I have slightly more with Mahomes because he is Mahomes, but like, Allen is so right there. He's proven a lot. He's gone toe to toe with some great teams. And
I mean, if we're ranking the quarterbacks who were in the playoffs, right? Like, who are you putting above Allen? That's my question.
No one.
You could, I mean, the only people, I don't know, I guess you could argue May if you really wanted to, like, oh, he's the MVP this year, but I don't think I'm ready to do that yet.
I went Allen. A crazy homer to say May. Like, who is saying May over Allen?
Like, after yes.
Look, I don't think anybody listening to this podcast, I don't think anybody really thinks that Allen is not like one of the best quarterbacks in the playoffs. I do agree that what's bizarre about all of this is like, yes, Allen doesn't have a Super Bowl, but he's mostly played like very good in the playoffs. He's been very consistent. His high level stuff has been like really, really nice. And he's had some like notably brutal losses. And I understand the like the talking point behind some of those is like they really changed the rules for Allen or whatever.
Which they did.
They did, but like
they did.
But here's my perspective. Allen literally played so good that he lost, and they're like, that can't possibly be. So we have to change the rules, bro. Not to turn this into an Allen Glaze fest, but yeah, the whole like the rest of the team doesn't
today.
matter. He's a great player. They won because of him.
They won because of him. He put the team on his fucking back.
I don't agree with the Bills being greatly constructed. Like the wide receivers still are what they are, but they got some big plays and.
Their secondary is super legit. Their secondary is super legit, and
their run defense, it's going to be an issue every single game. This is what I really feel strongly about this, and I understand Cohen drew up some great stuff, and he was stringing together misdirections really well and hitting play actions at the perfect time. The final touchdown that they had, they fooled everybody, but Rousseau's the end guy or whatever, and of course Lawrence just has the option there or whatnot, but. I just think that it's going to come down to these bad rushing offenses. I don't think the Bills are going to be able to take advantage of that. We've seen earlier in the year, we've seen it now. Maybe they have a better game. Maybe there's an even worse rushing offense that they face and they can do that. But it really feels like the bad rushing defense bails out those poor rushing offenses and allows them to get comfortable. Yeah. That's what's happened.
I will say in this game, I felt like a lot of the Jaguars hits were outside of the tackles, right? Like Jacoby Myers washing down Bosa specifically on those crack tosses. And I felt like the reason they didn't go to the run more was because they're so horizontal. If you go back to that too many times, you're worried about the big loss. And that's kind of a splash, that crack toss. It's not like duo or wide zone where like you can build the whole ship out of those plays because they're safe. They hit these long runs, but they were kind of expensive runs maybe. And when they were trying to go directly up the middle, like they weren't.
I still think they found some success up the middle, but maybe I don't have the stats in front of me, but I remember they broke up at least a couple.
I think when they ran to the D gap, they had 9 attempts for 94 yards, according to the Sumner Sports stat page.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good. A gap 315, B gap 411, C gap 2 attempts 2. So not the worst results you've ever seen, but not nearly. Yeah. It was a lot of those crack tosses that were really cooking, and I think there is a limit on how many times you can go back to that play specifically. I do think that Cohen called it enough. 9 attempts for 94 yards. He called that specific play a lot. Maybe he could have gone between the tackles a lot more too, though. It's definitely a conversation. And no Tootin touches in the second half.
Yeah.
When he was the one moving the ball.
Yards per carry. Holy shit.
But
49ers versus Eagles.
Yeah, we can move on to that.
This is where I really think the quarterback ranking of the playoffs really comes into play here, of Hurts versus Purdy, and everyone. This is a lot of people are like, you ranked Purdy way too low, dude. Purdy.
Where'd you rank him?
I ranked him at 12.
12,
which is right above Rodgers and right above Bryce. But right below Nix, below Darnold, below Stroud, below Caleb Williams, below Hurts, below Love. But I'm like,
yes, I'd say it's boldly low.
I'd put Nix. I'd put Nix below him.
But like they're one spot different, you know.
I don't know if I'd put anybody else.
But like, did Brock Purdy prove today that he's better than like any of those guys? Like I'm willing to constitute that, okay, they beat the Eagles, so like sure, I guess he's better than Hurts now. Okay. Like if that's the hill you really want to die on, go for it, okay? But like dude, those 2 interceptions were horrifically bad. Like,
They really were.
Unbelievable. And it was pissing me off because Tom Brady, the whole broadcast, it's just talking about how great Brock Purdy is at driving the football through the wind. And I'm like, both of those interceptions were lollipops in the wind. And I'm watching, like, Jalen Hurts throws this incredible arching deep ball in the same wind that A.J. Brown just, like, can't track at the very end. But I'm like, where's that same talk about being able to drive the ball in the wind? And
I mean, I completely agree. The script for this game is nonsense. Barkley goes for a moderately efficient 130 yards from scrimmage.
Yes.
You win the turnover battle by 2.
Yes.
Oh, and Kittle, I mean, what did he rupture his Achilles? Kittle goes out for the game. And you lose? How is it even possible? I mean, the answer that you come up with is a lot of those deep shots to A.J. Brown. The connection between him and Hurts just didn't hit today. They had multiple good opportunities that I agree. I think Brown kind of struggled to track, and then there was a drop on that.
Oh my God.
On that just dig over the middle where it's like, that's just a brutal, unacceptable one. And that I mean, that's the complete difference in the game, those 3 plays right there, as much as anything.
I mean, the play calling for the Eagles is ridiculous. Like, I think that the defense clearly did its job. The 2 turnovers, they really stuffed McCaffrey. I understand.
Quinion Mitchell caught 2 interceptions. Holy shit.
No regular season interceptions, 3 in the playoffs. Is that true? Or 1 in 3, something like that. But the defense really did its job. The pass rush wasn't all there, but no one's mad at the defense in Philly, and really nor should they be. The offense just doesn't make a shred of sense. No slants attempted in the entire game.
Unbelievable.
Really?
A.J. Brown should be slant boy, bro. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And I get that he sold this game 100%, and he's probably gone from Philly. But maybe he would have been a little warmer if you, like, just spam slants with him. Like, he is slant boy. He can catch and turn. Like, he was unstoppable on those routes for many years, and now they just don't get run ever. I don't understand. Like, I think Jalen Hurts can hit dig routes. I think he can hit crossers. I think that he did it, and it was dropped. And there's just none of it in the offense. It's all just hitches, and there's no Hurts impacting the run game whatsoever. It's not Barkley and Hurts. It's just Barkley.
That as much as anything. I mean, Hurts is a tier 1 runner, and I feel like you get the minimum. And I feel like a lot of the times, and there's just too many games where you get the minimum amount of value out of that, then when really, like, that's Hurts' lead selling point, you know? So I completely agree. It's not, this is a super unacceptable loss for Philadelphia. I mean, I'm thinking about it now. I'd say this is the worst loss of the day. Well,
we were unanimous that the Eagles should win this game.
When you consider what the rest of the playoffs would have looked like, because the Packers' loss is like worse, right? It's just like you were up really big and you just totally blew it. But it felt like the Eagles, we talked about like, oh, they're a team that can really go on a run if the run game gets going at all. And, you know, they could have had like a very winnable matchup. And it's like, okay, you're in the conference championship, and they've obviously been there before. So I think they are let down as much as the Jaguars, at least.
Yeah. No, look, I would say I don't care that we're like, oh, it's only a year removed from winning the Super Bowl. Sirianni needs to be gone. Like this, it is unacceptable that the dialogue, the discourse around Hurts is just like, okay, well, his offensive coordinator is now bad, therefore he's now bad. Or his offensive coordinator is like having any amount of creativity. Oh, he's top 10, top 5, top 3, whatever people want to say to like overrate him. But like that's been the discourse on him. And your only job is to either be a plus scheme guy, or be able to hire someone who can be plus schematically. And he just can't do that internally. He keeps trying to promote these guys internally. This is the second time it's been a complete disaster. And I think this is not just the worst loss of the day. This is probably the worst loss they've had in Philly for like since Sirianni's been there.
I don't know.
I think you give him another shot at OC. I think that's just what's going to happen.
Pretty bad too. That's a good.
Because they got blown out.
The Bucs one is a big.
It's
one.
just that you're watching the 49ers throw. No disrespect to Kyle Juszczyk and like.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Malik Turner and Sky Moore, and they're having Luke Farrell on screens that should be George Kittle.
Don't forget about Tonjes.
And Tonjes. Well, Tonjes is.
Well, they're having
is
wide receiver pass. I would like the difference in creativity watching these two offenses operate. It's staggering, and like obviously holding someone to the standard of Kyle Shanahan may be a little bit unrealistic, but come on,
it's insane that this team is in the divisional round and has won 13 games.
The fact that the meme is like. Saquon up the middle, Saquon up the middle, AJ Brown deep ball, and that is actually what happens every single game. Like
it's hardly even AJ Brown deep ball. It's like Saquon up the middle, Saquon up the middle.
AJ Brown,
Dallas Goedert in the flat.
Yeah,
like
Dallas Goedert in the flat. Devonta Smith.
It just doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well.
Yeah,
it doesn't. But like. It's the most predictable offense in the NFL right now, and that's a problem.
Yeah, I think Saleh deserves credit. Eric Kendricks deserves credit, and really all their linebackers like really came out. They flew around, they tackled, like they play that too high scheme, and you can't get by them. And the safeties can really hit you if you give them a chance, and everybody did their part. But like, come on, man! Like any amount of aggression or creativity should get you by, and Brown really does own a lot of this. Like you can't be pouty and whiny all season too, and then drop your opportunities in the playoffs, and then just dip out without talking to Mita and without taking like any accountability. It's just everybody has got to be so sick of his shit in the locker room. Like going back to when he was reading the book, like. Subtle shots at everybody, like I don't know. This
is the other thing, right? It like if Sirianni's not going to be a schematic guy, and he can't hire anyone to do that, and also he can't manage the personalities of the locker room, then what is he doing?
Yeah, I don't really have a good answer. Winning, I don't know. Guess.
Winning when he hires the right external offensive coordinator,
which he's done twice.
I see what you're saying
which
about
he's done
like
twice.
The Eagles are always dealing with this. I mean, this AJ Brown shit has been going on forever at this point. But is it Sirianni failing to control the vibes of the locker room, or is it just AJ Brown? Because I agree, like you can lose a locker room, but you also can't like make a guy act the way.
Sure.
On some level, this is you're just the head coach. You're not their, I don't know, therapist or something. That's not really quite right, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Why didn't Sirianni prevent him from going on Madden and talking about how bad everything was?
Should have taken his Xbox or PS.
Should have taken his Xbox away, bro. A classic mistake.
It's true. Yeah.
So I don't know how much blame I put on him there, but it's just, yeah, it's a super disappointing.
It's just like if we go,
it's a weird.
I assume this offseason we're gonna see Patullo get fired, right? And so then they're gonna go and find a new offensive coordinator, and let's say that guy ends up being really good, and they have another really, really great high octane offensive season, and that guy gets hired away again. Like, are we just gonna be in this cycle forever of like? It's like, oh, well, he hired the right guy 3 times and then hired the wrong guy 3 times. Then he's hired the right guy 4 times. Like, at what point is Sirianni responsible for those failures to continually replace or have someone or like retain that guy?
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. But there are a lot of coaches that get fired and don't. They're never really attractive head coaching options again, like Fangio. No one wants to hire Fangio as their DC. Like, why doesn't Fangio get poached?
Yeah.
Right.
So can you find that one guy who's a good offensive coordinator.
Well,
is it
like McDaniel? Because I think the issue is that with a lot of the offensive guys, it's just like there's such a premium on that side of the ball that people are like, no, we're going to give this guy another shot. Now maybe
he needs to find an old dude. He needs to find somebody who's
like who?
His next hire.
All the offensive coordinators are in high school, man. There is no 75-year-old. It doesn't exist, dude.
There is no 75-year-old offensive mind, bro. He needs to hire a 70-year-old offensive. Todd Monken is one of the biggest assets in the sport. All right, because he's a good offensive coordinator.
Yeah, but he's getting head coaching interviews, man. He's getting head coaching interviews.
No one's gonna hire him. Like, no, I'm not expecting the Todd Monken hired notification to roll across.
Even he's only 59. Now that is like 85 in offensive coordinator
Theo wants
years.
them to go get Bill Walsh somehow.
Every offensive coordinator is 27 and the like McVay tree or the LaFleur tree or something like that, dude.
Because if you fire him, what happens with Fangio? Does he stay with the Eagles? I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. I guess Stoutland probably stays. He's always been there. Maybe Fangio stays too. In that case, if you talk to them and they're like, yeah, I'll be DC. I don't care who you hire. If you hire Stefanski or whoever, like,
I'd be fired.
Maybe I could get down with it, but you give him another. I think he's earned another chance. And I think, like, just given the way front offices work, I don't know if this guy who's constantly in the playoffs, constantly in the Super Bowl is really going to get fired. So I think it's more of a realistic conversation to say who should their next OC be. And my answer is Matt Rule.
Monken's actually like a pretty reasonable.
Well, he's going to follow Harbaugh. He's not going to defect to see.
Or he's going to get a head coach. He's getting head coaching.
He is. The Browns interviewed him. Yeah.
So. Yeah, maybe like the Cardinals. Like, who wants to go coach the Cardinals right now, bro? Like, no one good. Oh, I get to go coach against the 49ers, the Seahawks, and the Rams 6 times a year, and I'm the.
Would you rather be the Cardinals or the Raiders?
Will be the quarterback for 14 of those games. Cool.
Would you rather coach the Cardinals or the Raiders, Theo?
I'd rather coach. Ooh. That's a good question.
If really it just comes down to would you rather live in Phoenix or Vegas for 2.5 years?
Would you?
I would rather live in Phoenix. I've been in.
I would agree.
I'd have an awesome time in Vegas for 17 months.
Yeah, I think I might rather take Phoenix with Kyler or something. I don't even know though. Mendoza is probably more valuable at this point.
Yeah, I think I would maybe take.
But then you have to live in Vegas.
No, I would take. I think the Cardinals. I don't know. I think I might take the big stars that the Raiders have. I know that team is pretty damn thin and their offensive line stinks. But like, I got the number 1 overall pick. I got Bowers. I got Crosby. If you want,
I got Tom Brady meddling in all my decisions.
I gotta hang out with Tom Brady. I don't know.
Would I rather have a dickhead, like an asshole owner, or an owner who's happy losing games because they're still selling out away tickets in Vegas? Like, would I rather play for a lazy owner or like a cheap, like meddling one? I don't know.
I think no, the issue with the meddling is that you can't come out and be like, you guys know that's not me drafting that guy, right?
Al Davis did Lane Kiffin a huge favor one time in a press conference. I've been getting like reels about this trailer where he's like, I understand that you did not want to draft Jamarcus Russell. Get over it. He's a great player. He said that when Lane got fired in a press conference. It's like, that is Lane's, like, that's why Lane Kiffin is a highly regarded coach today, probably, is because Al Davis said that at the press conference. Why are we talking about the Cardinals and Raiders? Where were we? Oh, the Eagles.
We were just talking
about coach. Yeah.
Shout out to the 49ers, though. I mean, again, Shanahan getting what he's gotten out of this roster is insane. They're incredibly, we've said it a million times. They're incredibly injured. Kittle goes down, you still get this one. It's nuts.
It's
I don't know if I love their odds against Seattle, but
at this point they can do anything, dude. Like, they're magic. I don't know.
Yeah, I really do have more mean things to say about Philly than like really nice things to say about the 49ers. I think everybody on defense played.
McCaffrey had a couple of incredible catches in this one.
He did. I agree.
Yeah, he did.
And I thought Juszczyk actually played very well.
Yeah,
I mean, it's funny that it's football. He is a good player.
But Demarcus Robinson again.
He went for like $120.
He went for $120. I think Purdy had 2 really bad picks, but I do think that he had some, throws on the back shoulder over the middle, guys.
Yes.
Again, that's kind of what's on his plate. Like, if he's not throwing against leverage over the middle, what is he doing? But he did have a couple really nice throws where he sat the guy down with a hit incoming. It was the opposite of a hospital ball.
Yeah.
Made some plays with his leg. I thought Brady had a good point of like, man, he's really strong in his lower body and he's twitchy at the right time.
That is true.
And yeah, there is a bit of Caleb Williams to his game, just with less range. I feel kind of similar about him and Bryce Young in that way, where it's like these guys have a good creation gene. These guys have twitch. These guys have some elasticity. They just don't quite have the speed and the range that like the high end creators do. But there is some of that a little bit of magic, enough magic to get out of certain situations against bad pass rushes or unathletic, guys chasing them. Is that the case versus the Seattle Seahawks? Probably not, though. They scored 3 points last time, and I'm picking Seattle.
Yeah, I'd
no
probably
spoilers,
pick Seattle as well.
Me too. Leaves us with one last game.
Does Patriots and Chargers? This was going to be the battle of the greatest quarterbacks on the planet, stay hot legends, some are calling them, Justin Herbert and Drake May. And it ended up being just like the most slugfest, turnovers, like strip sacks, just an ugly, ugly game on both sides. But Patriots ended up being the ones to pull it out. Drake May really, like in that, like the second half, and especially in the fourth quarter, I felt like he really started to lock in and make some plays with his legs, stepping up in the pocket.
The plays he made running were huge. Really, as a rushing threat, he's been big this year and huge in this game. I mean, he broke off, obviously, the huge one that set up the field goal before half. But also, like, the short yardage, the option, and then he fakes out and goes. I mean, that's some serious juice for a QB. Yeah. My thing about his game, I thought he played overall decent, but the fumbles in the pocket were just like Brandon Whedon-esque sort
Johnny
of
Manziel, yeah.
So I was sort of just like, you've got to have more feel than that, man. And a lot of the times he has, but those were some particularly bad. I'm cocking the ball back at a time that you can't, and it's not MVP level plays.
No, definitely not.
I'm not trying to, but you know what I mean.
Absolutely not. Both quarterbacks just felt like they didn't care about sacks in a very derogatory way. Like they just thought the play is never, ever over as long as I'm the quarterback. And sometimes that's true for both of them. Sometimes that's true, but in the playoffs, no. In the playoffs, these are better defensive tackles.
But I will give May at least the benefit of this is his first playoff game.
Mm-hmm. Against quite a good defense. I thought May played all right. Yeah, the run plays really were huge. What he was able to do, ripping those throws,
they were massive.
Those runs off on the ground, and he had a beautiful touchdown, like sliding in the pocket, blitz in his face. He slides to the left. Khalil Mack unblocked, charging at him, layers that throw over Derwin James down in front of the safety. Like that was pretty beautiful. He had an out and up, I think, to Booty that he put in front of the corner, and Booty was able to turn around and make a miss. Like that was a great throw. There's a hitch route on the sideline, also to Booty, where he turned and made Cam Hart miss. That was a great throw. Like I thought, at least May made plays. You know, unlike another quarterback in this game that made one play with his legs, I'd say, where he kind of cut out a couple plays with his legs.
Both quarterbacks were the leading rushers in this game, so
yeah.
Not just like the leading rushers for their team, but like Drake May was the number 1 rusher in this game, and then Justin Herbert was the number 2 rusher in this game, and then number 3 was Ramondre Stevenson.
Mm-hmm. So, and Stevenson had a lot to do in the receiving game.
Yeah. He was the Patriots' leading receiver.
Punished those blitzes.
Leading receiver of this game.
Really? Yeah. Minter loves to blitz and getting. I thought May was really good in certain situations, getting through all of his progressions and hitting those checkdowns. And I think they did a good job punishing the kind of the downhill nature of that Chargers second level with those checkdowns.
Yeah, I thought a lot of the ways that they were stunting up front, though, made it tough for May to step up at times, especially when Tule could get inside and he'd have pressure coming not only from around the edge, but up the middle. But I agree. I mean, this game was just a story of like both these guys took a insane amount of sacks and hits, and it's just boring to talk about the issue with the Chargers at this point because it's not reflective of exactly where they're going to be next year. It's more reflective of just like the injuries that they have. They're missing both their tackles, and their offensive line sucks. They get no push in the run game. They couldn't run the ball straight up, and then Herbert's under pressure all the time, and he's getting killed, and then like writhing in pain because of his hand on the ground, and then getting up and they put up 3 points. It's like cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a single one-on-one matchup that the Chargers had against probably any team in this play. Like the Patriots might have this, maybe not the worst defense in the playoffs on the AFC. That might be the Steelers with the results this year, but like this ain't Denver. This ain't Houston. This ain't even themselves on the back end on defense. And like, who can win on the offensive line? Who can win in the receiver room? Like,
their receivers are super concerning. I mean, there was a point where it's like McConkey was great last year, and there was a point where it's like Johnston looked good, and there was a point where like Gadsden had kind of broken down. It's like you sit here at the end of the year, and it's like, man, nobody feels like they're your consistent go-to guy, and you've kind of invested a lot in the receivers. I've been dealing with this for a long time. It's not quite like Chiefs level, Jesus Christ, another year of the receivers, but like, damn, man. Yeah, I agree.
It did remind me of some Chiefs Super Bowls, honestly. Like the one against the Buccaneers and the one against the Eagles last year. Just go in and it's like, man, there's absolutely no chance for the quarterback. Like the receivers and the offensive line are just too bad. Like Tooney and Juwan Taylor against vertical sets like are getting blown up, and then there are drops or the receivers just like aren't open, or there's just too much pressure to even manage. Like I think even great quarterbacks it's hard to make things happen. Like Herbert made 0 plays. He made 0 plays against the Texans. At least he made plays. Getting hit, he shook off a hit. He made a tough throw. Like
he kind of did enough to win that Texans game, or at least give a real chance when they should have had no opportunity. And in that game, it was also just so clear, like the tackles insta losing all of the time, and it's like nobody could have reasonably pointed to Herbert and been like, "That's on you, man."
Yeah.
When the receiver issue is straight up drops. It's people usually give a lot of grace to the quarterback, I think. When it's them not getting open or them not winning, it's harder to see on the broadcast, and it just kind of looks like the quarterback's not doing anything a lot of the time. Not to say that Herbert played well, I'm just saying.
No, yeah, he didn't. Like, again, 0 play. Even in Mahomes' first Super Bowl where they got absolutely blown up and the receivers, like, drops. He was making some of the craziest plays I've ever seen him make. Like, I think in certain ways that was one of the more impressive Mahomes games, was that first Super Bowl, even though they got blown out and it's one of his worst playoff games, right? You can still say like he was accurate under pressure in certain situations. Like, man, that was a crazy throw from Mahomes and Tyreek just dropped it. Like there were some drops in this game, but like, mostly underthrows, I thought. And Herbert was just not dialed whatsoever, but mostly neutral when he wasn't under pressure. and then just like absolutely horrific stats when he is under pressure. 12 attempts, 6 completions, 9 yards under pressure.
Yikes.
And that doesn't even just count the sacks that he took.
I mean, I just think it's clear the injury stuff with him is just too much at this point in the season. Like, he's too banged up.
Yeah, he's taken on a lot of contact, I think.
And so is Allen.
He's not fresh.
You know, so like maybe we should hold him to a higher standard, but like I think we've said Allen's better. So
yeah, I think it's you'd love him to perform in the playoffs one day, but I
this wasn't the year.
This wasn't the year. That when your leading receiver is Keenan Allen, leading rusher is Kamani Vidal, and best offensive lineman is Zion Johnson. Like I truly don't know what else to say. Like, this is just the worst offensive roster in the playoff spot. Like, the Panthers are way clear, I think, when it comes to offensive infrastructure.
And that's not even an injury thing.
And coaching.
No,
and coaching.
You'd rather have Tet easily over.
You'd rather have Coker at this point. You'd rather have Damian Lewis. You'd Ike Ekwonu and Moten. You'd like, love to have them.
You'd rather have
Canales over Roman. I mean, the final drives made me want to rip my eyes out. Like, the substitutions and the ref like holding up the play as the clock runs and the Patriots are like crawling out onto the field. It's like, what are we doing? And then they don't have the protection to like, or the receivers to hit anything more than hitches in the 2-minute drill. Like, holy shit, that's bad.
Yeah.
You know who's the pressure on next year?
Harbaugh?
Sorry, yeah, Harbaugh.
Both brothers.
Harbaugh
in the mud.
Look, I mean, you can chalk as much as you can chalk it up to like, what can you do, Herbert? What can you do, Harbaugh? But like, for sure, I don't think you could go a third year without a playoff win with Herbert, right? If you have the quarterback like elite sort of figured out, it's not acceptable. And there's, you know, certain things that you can't blame them for, but it didn't feel like their execution was that awesome. And there's some punts on like 4th and 2 and shit like that. And it's like, man, that's not the type of
a field goal early in the game. Like, I didn't understand why when it's 0-0 and it's 4th and 2, they go for it. Not complete. Not a very accurate throw by Herbert. All right. Maybe that factors into it. 4th and 2, later in the game, you're down 0-3. You kick the field goal. Why? What is different about those two situations?
It's just it's got to be the idea of tying it up, but you have to think that in the second quarter, you're not playing for like to tie the game up in that sense, right? You're not playing like chasing the points like you might be chasing points in the 4th quarter to draw it even or something.
Jesus. Mm-hmm. And it's like the exact same field position too. I didn't even realize that.
Yes. What is your process? What is your consistent process? Like, this is what we do. If you're good enough to go for it in the first time, and then you're not good enough and you want to kick the field goal the second time, like, shouldn't those two decisions be consistent and the same? Like, you wanted to get the 7 points on the board earlier. Why don't you want to do it now? It's like, oh, well, the mental thing. I don't want to be losing. I want to tie it up. But like, a field goal is 3 points. A touchdown is 7. A field goal is closer in points to a punt than a touchdown, especially when you consider if you miss the go for it attempt, they've got to drive 96 yards. So you're probably getting the ball back in 2 minutes on your 45-yard line. Like, it's really not even purely 3 points that you're giving up, like, with the field position that you're giving up. It's probably a little bit less than 3 points. You can think of it that way. And a touchdown it's
just, like, I mean, it's bad analytically. We don't gotta.
I know. It's just what on earth is this offensive coaching staff good at? I feel like time management.
Yeah, and just like the Greg Roman shit you've been dealing with.
Play action on 4th and 9 at the end of the game. Like, when there's instant pressure in Herbert's lap, you're spending the time hitting the play action out of shotgun to Vidal. Not even under center play action, which is kind of good all the time. Like, shotgun play action is just a worse play. And that's your 4th and 9 play call. Like, it's as incompetent of an offense that I've ever seen led into the dance, and a good argument against the 7th seed. How did they even get here playing like this? Like, Jesus.
Yeah. Most 7 seeds are really bad.
Yeah.
So,
but hopefully Gonzalez is all right, and because he didn't allow a single catch. The Patriots did end up with the largest win of Wild Card Weekend so far.
Wow, I guess that's true.
That's crazy.
So you got to feel pretty good. I mean, that's not how every Chargers game goes, even though these issues always do exist. So maybe their defense is good enough. That was definitely
They play winner of Houston, Pittsburgh, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Wow. That'd be crazy, one of those teams going to the conference championship game. Any of those three would be a pretty nice story.
Patriots are going to the Super Bowl, man.
That's true.
They very well could.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if that had quite inspired that kind of confidence in me, but maybe May plays.
Did anyone, I don't know if anyone really like inspired me with confidence, right? Rams won, but not pretty. The Bears, you're still, it's like the defense is brutal, but you're overall, like, obviously a successful season, even if they get blown out by 40. Buffalo,
I think Buffalo inspired some confidence.
Yeah. Buffalo, it's definitely like you feel better about them than you did going in, for sure. And the 49ers, you salute, but you have to assume eventually, like, the reality of the roster catches up with them at some point.
But maybe it won't, dude. Like, maybe Kyle Shanahan is just a magician.
Look, I mean, Kyle Shanahan's magic, and, you know, he can keep his teams in game, obviously, and scheme stuff up with whoever is his receivers, right? Like you said, right. Theo, it's a superpower. But we've seen them struggle against the Seahawks. And also, I do think there's a level of, like, I feel like anytime a team goes on a run in, like, March Madness or whatever, you see the fans start saying, like, oh, you guys said that last time, and look what. Like, for instance, we said this game, like, Philly's got such a massive talent advantage, we think they're going to win. And then the 49ers won. It's like, talk your shit if you're a 49ers fan. But I do think, like, most of the time how it ends up working out is eventually, like, it does catch up with them. Eventually it's like, you guys said that last time. How are you saying it this time? And then it's like, you say it this time, and it does eventually play out like that.
They would have had to, the Purdy picks and McCaffrey averaging like 2 yards a carry, like, does make me think. They still
won in spite of that, bro. If I'm a 49, I mean, if you're a 49ers fan, there's no point this week than doing anything other than just talking shit to the Seahawks, being like, yeah, we got Kyle Shanahan, man.
And shout out Juwan Jennings.
Yeah.
Elite recruit as a dual threat quarterback.
Elite ball placement.
I saw that he was ahead of Burrow and, like, Lamar in his recruiting class.
Yeah, he was super, super high. He went to, he was Tennessee.
That was a dime, and a great catch by McCaffrey, and a great time to break that play call out. See, just timely shit. LaFleur, timely trick play. Why? Never have I seen a timely trick play. Maybe a flea flicker. Maybe I've seen a flea flicker. When
was the last time the Eagles ran a trick play, dude?
He had one to Aaron. I think he had one where someone threw it all the way back to Aaron Jones against the Vikings a few years back, and Aaron Jones had a cavalry. A few years ago, he had it. What does he have now? He has Josh Jacobs inside zone for 6 attempts, 6 yards in a second half out of shotgun. Sickening. But anyway, I think the Bills definitely showed me something, and I think the Patriots defense did show me something. I think
it was a good performance.
It was a great performance, and it Milton Williams and Barmore being a pass rush engine to the extent that they were, it wasn't a bad sign, because I do worry about what they're going to be able to do pressuring people. So Milton Williams being back and having the game that he did, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But
the 1 seeds are probably
or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that would be tough.
Yeah. These 1 seeds feel like they're probably
the 1 seeds had the best day. They escaped the bloodbath.
They escaped. And now they get to go and clean up the mess, and that'll be hopefully easy for them. But we'll see. We'll talk about previewing those games a little bit on the next episode, and we'll get closer and closer to the big day, February 8th, Super Bowl Sunday. We're going to be in San Francisco, not for the game, but for Media Week. So we'll get to talk to the players, talk to the coaches. It'll be a fun time. But until then, and until next time, as always, from your favorite fellas here at Stay Hot, thank you all for tuning in to this wild card recap episode. And until next time, we will catch you on the flippity flop.